Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the NWA or Always Rules pay per view for 6/12 or 6/11 19 or yeah 2022. Easy for me to say. Been a long day. Anyway, um, some good things on this, other things that just defy explanation. But needless to say, NWA always tries hard, and they continue to do so here. Pre-show May Valentine with Black G's. The pre-show talking about how Black G's was going to manage Tyrus tonight instead of Austin Idol. Idol's focusing on managing Cryon tonight. G's says that Idol's trying to make things right with his son, and G's is going to create a moment with Tyrus. As Mims loses to Tyrus, retains the television championship. Rodney Mack defeats Jake Dumas with CJ. This is not good. Dumas is not ready, and Rodney Mack wasn't able to carry him. CJ acted as an assistant to Dumas, uh, waving in his direction anytime he did anything, including being dropped. And then Mack hits a spine buster for 2 count. Dumas then hits a Russian leg sweep, which isn't saying something that great because it was very off kilter. Um, and then he tries to do some degree of magic tricks. Anyway, CJ is amusing, and then maybe that'll work. Rodney Mack never really got things together all that great. Mack hits a big backdrop, goes for the German suplex, but Dumas pulls a playing card out and rake the eyes with it. Um, Dumas then hits a body slam into Uranagi, but Mack kicks out. Dumas then calls CJ, give him a chair, so she grabs a chair and begins to show off modeling said chair. Rodney Mack locks on a submission. CJ comes into the ring, displays her support for her fallen compadre. May Valentine is with Chelsea Green talking about the injury to Matt Cardona. Green is very vague, saying Cardona's tough and resilient, man, and that they were always going to show up. Green said that she didn't know if Corrigan's going to make Cardona give up the title or fight, but her and Cardona were going to go out there and do what's necessary. Green also insisted she wanted to be NWA World Women's Champion, and she's given Carmel her time. Hatchet Samuel Shaw made his entrance into the arena, returning the NWA for the first time since the NWA 74 years ago. Kyle Davis questioned him, and Shaw remained silent. Crowd popped at the silence, which is quite interesting. Friedman comes out, says he's in awe of Shaw, and demands a new T-shirt be made. Sal Rinauro comes to the ring, attacking Shaw from behind. Ronaldo then throws a punch, but Shaw catches it. Friedman and Shaw clear the ring. Friedman offered a handshake to Shaw, and Shaw takes it, but hits a massive Uranagi in the silence and a head and arm choke. Shaw does the same thing to Ronaldo. Gags the Gimps run down to ringside. Shaw simply stared a hole in him and Sal the Pal, and they run out of the ring. Shaw does get a nice reaction for this. It wasn't perfect, but it was there. Anyway, May Valentine is with Wrecking Ball Gursky, who has some breaking news about the fixers. Wrecking Ball announced that Jay Bradley is hurt and he had uh, elephantitis of the inner groins, and it bothers him, and he reads a book and bikes. This seems interesting. Anyway, so the Mortons, Ricky and Kerry defeated AJ Kazana and Anthony Andrews with Joe Kazana. The Ill Begotten, Jeremiah Puckett, and Alex Taylor with Danny Deals. Morton's looked good. It's a showcase for Kerry Morton, but it doesn't come together. Morton's get a victory, serving his purpose and getting the decent reaction from the crowd. The Ill Begottens are announced as replacement for the pictures. Danny Deals secured another deal. Deals uses the attack on Rush Freeman by Samuel Shaw to get Corrigan to give them the match here. Kazana and Taylor isolate Kerry Morton in the corner, but teamwork doesn't last very long. Morton fires up on Kazana, but gets down with a power slam, and Kazana catches him coming off the middle ropes. Cardona gets caught with the throat and thrust. Taylor tags out to Puckett. Ricky Morton tags in and hits a head scissors headlock takeover on Puckett and then Andrews. Match breaks down into a brawl. Everyone's all over the ring. Heels can't work together getting Kerry Morton, so Alex Taylor and Cardona seem to keep going, getting in each other's way, and then Anthony Andrews hits the undefeated and the 2.0 on his tights. If Cardona wins the match, part of this makes the psychology of the match weird. 3 men in the ring at the same time, and not everyone knew where everyone was supposed to be. Then we go with a dropkick. Ricky Morton hitting the double dropkick with his son on Puckett to score the pinfall. Main card, Joe Galli, Tim Storm, and Ballot Sky open the show, running down the card before Aaron Stevens makes his entrance with tears in his eyes, indicating this really is his retirement match. He puts over Trevor Murdoch. Murdoch slaps Stevens starting the match. Stevens tries to out-wrestle Murdoch, but Murdoch uses punches and kicks to keep him dragging. Stevens gets the legs caught on the top rope, injuring the knee. Stevens gets a rolled foot and then gets caught in the turnbuckle. Murdoch uses this as a chance to attack the knee and hit the top rope bulldog, and thereafter gets a pinfall. Stevens grabs the mic after the match, and fans cheered, "Thank you," and then Stevens said, "You're welcome." I can't think of a more classy way for him to leave. Pretty empowered, Kenzie Page and Ella Envy defeat the Hex, Allison Kay, and Marty Bell for the NWA Women's Tag Team Championship. Do they really need these? Don't really know. Paige and Kay are in the ring, and this isn't a bad match when they're in there. Bell and Envy in the ring, it's not as good. Envy could keep up with Paige, and Paige could help make Bell look decent, but Envy and Bell together isn't good. Decent enough match. Kay and Paige start and hit a series of double team moves. 2-on-1 on Envy. Envy rolls out to the floor, but it eats a splash off the apron by Bell. Kay then goes to top rope for a dive, but Envy runs in and powerbomb on Kay. Envy then stomps Kay with a couple of low blows, which is just goofy when there's women. But anyway, Envy and Paige tries it together, but Kay fights off Paige and nails Kay with a super kick for 2 count. Envy then comes back at Kenzie Page with a miscommunication of some sort, and then Kay makes tag to Bell, but then goes to suplex again. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, and Kay suplexed both women before tagging out to Marty Bell. Allison Kay hits a Salto suplex on Kenzie Page and dumps her on her head. Marty Bell hits a stroke on Envy, but gets 2 count. Page and Envy then try a complicated spot with Bell, and that doesn't go very well. Page hits a suicide dive on Kay, and Envy makes her way into the ring with the tag title. Tries to hit Bell with it. The referee takes the belt away, but Envy gets down with her back being turned, and Ella punts Marty Bell low and hits play of the day for the pinfall. Then we go to Homicide defeating PJ Hawks to retain the NWA Junior title. Not a fan of this because I'm not a fan of Homicide. Homicide is over the hill. Hawks isn't ready to be in there, but does have potential. Homicide tries to out-wrestle Hawks early. Hawks keeps using amateur experience, getting out of takedowns. Hawks then has Homicide down and locks on a face lock. Every attempt on Homicide taking him down. Hawks then has an answer, and he looks pretty competent here. Homicide does a Russian leg sweep while pulling his hair in a classic heel moves. Homicide nails him with a boot before hitting a backbreaker. Joe Galli points out that Homicide works over the back. And then Homicide locks on the SDF, but Hawks is able to get out with his wrestling ability again. Struggles more with Homicide. Homicide hits a stun gun for near fall. Hawks then hits the suplexes on Homicide before sending him crashing into the corner and hitting the overhead belly-to-belly suplex for near fall. Homicide hits a chop, and that causes the crowd to react a bit. He hits a Koji cutter off the middle rope. Hawks fights out of a vertical suplex for near fall. Hawks then puts Homicide on the top rope and superplex 2 count. Hawks then goes for the super kick, but Homicide counts in the Koji cutter for a 2 count. Homicide then breaks out the cop killer and gets 3 count. And then Jay Bradley runs out, attacks both Homicide, and shows respect to PJ Hawks. I guess his issues have been cured. The Mortons run down to make the save, chasing off the fixtures. Colby Carino grabs the referee, and it seems Colby Carino is chasing the Champions Series title shot on Homicide. Homicide defeats Colby Carino to retain the junior heavyweight champion. The Champions Series still is kind of a weird concept. Homicide's on his feet and ready to fight, but Carino hits a flying forearm, starting to beat on Homicide. Carino then hits a chop in the corner. Homicide no-souls that and cusses him out for the chop. Carino hits the STO on the apron and then a dive to drive Homicide into the guardrail. Carino then throws Homicide back in the ring, but Homicide stands up and to Carino on the other side of the ring, and they brawl all around ringside, teasing going through the announce table, but fighting back on the stage. Homicide then hits a backdrop on the stage before dragging Carino towards the ring by his hair. Homicide then hits three amigos on Carino, but is stopped for the third, and then Carino's neckbreaker for a 2 count. Homicide counters Carino and hits a cop killer on Carino, but Carino manages to kick out. Homicide then attempts to pick Carino up and tells him how much he hates his father before nailing him with a lariat and using the ghetto clutch for the pinfall. Not a fan of Homicide beating Steve Carino or Colby Carino, but hey, it is what it is. Natalia Markova with Tyron Tyrell defeats Taya Valkyrie. Both tried hard, but they weren't on the same page for the majority of the match, so this doesn't go well. Valkyrie dominates the early parts of the contest. Charging off Tyrell, Valkyrie gets cut off. Tyrell grabs her feet, leading to Markova choking her over the ropes. Markova then fights and kicks after a couple clotheslines. Meeting Valkyrie had to roll her over for her own 2 count. Valkyrie hits the road to Valhalla in the middle of the ring after a hip attack, but Tyrell distracts the referee. Markova recovers and hits a spinning kick to defeat Valkyrie. Jax Dane defeats Chris Adonis to retain the NWA National Championship. Old school match. Action is kind of 80s rific. Adonis and Dane locks up. Adonis then is able to overpower him. That shocks Dane. Dane then rolls out to the floor after they've had wrestled around a bit in the ring. Throws a chair into the ring. Adonis sets up the chair in the ring and challenges Dane to the Master Lock Challenge. Dane reluctantly agrees. Second distracted low blow on the pay-per-view, which isn't a good thing. Dane then hits the call for the Master Lock, saying he's going to do it. Adonis struggles against it in a few moments. Dane then goes for the spear, but Adonis counters into a pop-up spinebuster for a near fall. Adonis then calls for the Master Lock, but Dane rolls to the outside and drives Adonis back into the ring post first. Dane then attacks hard on Adonis to weaken his grip of the Master Lock. Dane then goes for the lariat to finish the match, but Adonis counters into the Master Lock again. Then says he couldn't lock that on. Dane then hits the lariat for the pinfall. May Valentine and Aaron Stevens are backstage. Talked about when he was training to be a wrestler since he was 16 years old. He wanted to be the world champion more than anything, but he never got there. It's time for him to step away. He said that his dream did not love him back, and he chose himself and his health. He said that adulation from the fans doesn't pay his bills and make him like what he sees in the mirror. Stevens then said to Valentine, "Let's go to Brazil. I'm done." Stevens said it would be okay if he never got to bring the title to Killer Kowalski's grave, but he got something else from the business that mattered, and he looked at May Valentine. Tom Latimer defeats Cryon. It basically felt like a house show match, nothing interesting. Strictly business folks being babyfaces doesn't really work, but I guess you can kind of stretch it. They never really had a babyface turn, so it doesn't really make sense. Latimer uses fundamental wrestling to stay ahead of Cryon, sending him to the floor. Cryon is upset about Adonis. out wrestles him, and then Idol had to keep him calm. Cryon then hits a neckbreaker and starts using to hammer away at the neck, weakening his opponent. Cryon then tries to hit an attack off the middle rope, but Latmir gets his foot up. After back and forth, Latmir is able to win with the pop-up powerbomb for a 3 count. Tyrus with Black Jeeves defeats Mims to retain the NWA Women's Championship, or I'm sorry, Television Championship. We already had the Women's Championship, Tag Team Championship anyway. This match is not where it needs to be. Mims looks decent enough in the match. Mims does not get the victory. Mims charged in the corner and hits several punches. Tyrus powers out and goes to the other side of the ring. Mims climbs into Tyrus's back and starts hitting crossface blows on Tyrus's face. Tyrus is maxed out as far as his endurance is considered. Tyrus slams Mims and does a nerve pinch on him. Mims then fights out. Tyrus hits a knee to the gut and drops Mims again. Mims suddenly fires up, slams Tyrus for a big pop from the crowd. For a 2 count, Black Jeeves gets on the apron, distracting the referee, but Tyrus accidentally hits Jeeves and Mims shoulder block, but then injured shoulder from the post prevented him from falling up. Tyrus no-souls everything and stands up. Mims then drives Tyrus back into the corner, hits some punches and a good arm. Tyrus then attacked Mims after the bell, and to the disgust of Tim Storm, Velvet Sky cusses on commentary. Anyway, so then we go to the Commonwealth Connection. Doug Williams, Harry Smith defeating La Rebellion. Mecha Wolf and Beasta 666 for the NWA Tag Team Championships. Decent match with the crowd is dead, basically due to the last match ending so poorly. Williams and Mecha Wolf start the match off. Both men exchange holds pretty vehemently here. And they come out pretty even. Beasta and Smith then try their hand. Beasta hits a Rana on Smith before double teaming. Smith and Williams maintain the advantage for several minutes. And then La Rebellion is able to use a fast-paced offense, turning things around. Williams hits a blockbuster spinebuster combination for near fall. La Rebellion hits the Mark of the Beast on Williams for 2 count. La Rebellion hits a double knee strike on Smith and then goes Total Rebellion, hitting Williams with the Muscle Buster on 450 smash. Mecha Wolf then gets up after 450 and hits Suicide Dive on Smith. And Beasta tries to pin Williams, but Williams kicks out. Everyone ends up down. Smith then takes out Beasta. Williams suplex Mecha Wolf, and then Beasta hits a super kick. Williams then hits a butterfly suplex off the top rope before Smith gets diving headbutt off the top rope for the pinfall. Mae Valentine interviews Kylan King about the upcoming match. King is insulted, and Camille was taking her lightly. Camille then defeats Kylan King to retain the NWA Women's Championship. Camille and King have decent chemistry, and the match is really good. Bully Ray joins commentary about talking about his trainees as Camille and King, both saying that King is focused on winning this match. Camille and King shake hands. Camille then tries to intimidate King by putting her into a shoulder block, but King refuses to let go of the hands, and they do the same basic thing, monkey flip for 2 count. Keeping the grip of the hands, Camille kicks out of the Oklahoma roll, and King hits a crossbody attempt before a fallaway slam. King then gets right up and kicks Camille's stomach and hitting a vertical suplex. King hits the ropes, and Camille pops up and nails King with a lariat for a near fall. Camille then hits a gut wrench suplex for a 2 count. Camille drives King into the turnbuckle so hard that the padding came undone, which actually added to the match a bit here. Camille hits a spinning heel kick on King, and then Camille tries to slam the arm of King into the ring post on the outside because they go brawling to the outside for a little bit. King counters, pulling Camille into it and hurting her arm. King then hits dropkick between the ropes to the floor on Camille. Camille sends King face first into the steps before hitting the radio silence for 2 count. Both women get up. King hits a bunch of strikes, hitting a boot in the corner, and then a snap German suplex for a near fall. King and Camille exchange some forearms before King nails Camille with a knee to the face and hits an airplane main. King hits a roundhouse kick on Camille for a 2 count. Camille hits a torture rack into a powerbomb for a 2 count. King hits twisting suplex for a 2 count, and then Camille hits a power slam for a near fall as well. King responds with an inverted suplex and frog splash for the 2 count. King fires up in the corner but walks right into the spear from Camille for the win. This is the best match on the show, to be honest. Max the Impaler comes down to ringside taking out a few security guards. Camille tells Max to bring it. Camille is ready to keep fighting, and security attempts to keep Max away. Davis comes to the ring to introduce Dr. Tom Pritchard, making his way down to the ring, putting over Kenzie Page and Ella Envy. Page trained with Pritchard, and he was glad to put her over in her hometown of Knoxville. Pritchard thanks the NWA and the fans and hoping they enjoyed the main event. Matt Cardona comes out for a promo. Cardonas make their way down to the ring. Cardona is in full sling and bandage. Mike Knox, VSK, and Chelsea Green accompanied Cardona into the ring. Cardona grabs the mic and does a bit of talking. Cardona then says this was a pay-per-view and he earned it, but unfortunately he's unable to defend the title tonight. Cardona talked about the title, saying he loved it and asked, "Do I have to give you up?" Cardona said he called the shots here and he wasn't going to give the title up. Billy Corgan comes out and makes his way to ringside. Corgan takes him aside without the mic talking with him. Corgan asked for the title, waiting for Cardona to relinquish it. Nick Aldis, old music hit. Anyway, Aldis makes his way down to the ring with a mic. Aldis calls Cardona an ex-WWE parasite and claimed that he conned his way into the top spot of the NWA. Bully Ray claims that Aldis was shooting, and Aldis said the title was not his title, but the title that belonged to Ric Flair, Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, and the people because of its history. It stands above every other title. Aldis told Cardona to go nurse up his injury and give him a call when he's better. He's not good enough wrestler to hold the title. Aldis then called out anyone from the back to come out for a match with him. Send the fans home happy. Trevor Murdoch's music hit, and out they come to ringside. He's still fresh from his match with Aaron Stevens, so short at the start of the show. Trevor Murdoch indicated to Corrigan that he's cashing in his rematch close for the NWA World Championship right now, and he would be our main event. Before Cardona could give up the title, Tom Latimer makes his way to ringside, and Camille went up to Corrigan and said that she was the world champion, and that this is her NWA, so she's inserting Latimer into the match. Latimer said Corrigan never saw him as a main eventer, and that in 20 minutes he was going to walk out with the NWA World Championship. Samuel Shaw then makes his way down to ringside, inserting himself into the match. Latimer held the mic up and Shaw simply said, "I want in." Looks like we have a four corners match for the NWA title. Corrigan goes back to trying to convince Cardona to give the title up in the discussion with Cardona. Matt Cardona finally gives it over, kissing the title goodbye. Cardona says he's trusting Corrigan as he left the ring. Trevor Murdoch defeats Nick Aldis, Tom Latimer, and Samuel Shaw in a four-way match for the NWA Championship. Not bad main event. Crowd's not into much of it because it wasn't really that where. Anyway, we kind of go into things going in a more, I guess you'd say, split kind of way. Shaw and Aldis make their way back into the ring. Aldis hits a third press on Shaw. Latimer drives Aldis back into the corner and agrees to team with Shaw for a bit. Murdoch slams Shaw, and Shaw sets up Murdoch. He doesn't seem to like this. And then there's a crossbody over the top rope by Shaw on all three guys, on all three of his opponents. Latimer hits a spear onto Aldis in the ring, but Shaw pulls the referee out from the ring before the 3 count. Shaw then goes under the ring and waves bye to Latimer. Aldis Cuts Latmer off the top rope and goes for suplex. Murdoch then gets in the ring and hits a Tower of Doom powerbomb on Aldis and Latmer for a 2 count. Shaw then comes out from under the ring and punches Murdoch before hitting a bulldog on Latmer and a suplex on Aldis. Shaw then kicks and then hits a leg drop on Aldis and gets a short pop from the crowd. Murdoch hits a pop-up spinebuster on Shaw for a near fall. Latmer hits a moonsault press on Murdoch, but Aldis breaks it up before putting the figure 4 on Murdoch, who hurt his knee in the dive earlier. Shaw and Latmer both climb the ropes and hit the flying elbows on Murdoch, and Aldis breaks the submission. Latmer hits the implant DDT on Aldis, but eats a super kick from Shaw. Then we go to Nick Aldis hitting Shaw with a stunner, but Murdoch breaks up the pinfall attempt. Murdoch hits a clothesline and calls for top rope bulldog. Top rope gives out just like it did for Camille and Kylan King, causing him to slip and catch his foot on the ropes in a very similar way to Aaron Stevens. A little bit of irony there. Shaw then hits the silence on Latmer, but Aldis breaks up flying elbow. Aldis then puts the King's Land Cloverleaf on Murdoch, but Latmer breaks up. Aldis dumps Latmer on the floor and low bridges Shaw and charges him, sending him to the floor. Aldis then stands up and eats a top rope bulldog from Murdoch, walking right into it. Murdoch is the NWA champion. Ultimately, I guess it's a nice crossover, but we'll see where it goes from here. Still, the NWA is phenomenal, and we will be back with more right after this.